The settlers' new allies. Is it worth a buy, guys? Is it? Let's read the words of the developer. The Settlers' New Allies is a strategy game with an in-depth build-up experience and real-time strategic battles, fully reimagined from the ground up with stunning graphics and detailed animations. Choose among 3 factions, the Elari, the Maru and the Jorn. Each has a unique look, playstyle and background story. Experience a star. Who gives a...
Guys, I've waited a long time for this game. I've waited about, I don't know, was it 12 years for this? I'm a massive Settlers fan. I've got them all, played the shit out of them all. My favourite is 3 and 4. I love that, probably because it's very centred around the army and it's extremely deep. The Settlers 4, especially Settlers 3 actually, very deep in the actual city building side of things. And you have a huge army as well that you get, and you can strengthen your army. You've also got other units that have special abilities. It's a brilliant take on the Settlers. And I was hoping, it was false hope I guess, that this was actually going to be good, but it's 2023 and games suck now, games mostly suck now, especially in the AAA, and this is yet more evidence of that. This is Ubisoft, one of the biggest game developers out there, and they haven't even tried with this. They haven't even fucking tried, man. They know what the Settlers is. Blue Byte, they're the devs of all the Settlers games. German company, they made some brilliant games, but now guys, this is just garbage. So where do we start with this? Well, it's all streamlined, it's all dumbed down and streamlined. The big production chains have gone. Everything is just instant, it's just now. It's all been streamlined right down so that you don't need to build half as many buildings to get the end result of what you were after. To give you an example, let's talk about the food chain. Food is very important in Settlers because without the food, your miners will simply not mine. And if you can cut your enemy's food supply out, you've got them. In this game, that doesn't matter because they don't need food. The miners don't care. They don't care whether they've got no food. They'll just happily mine. All the food's forced to give them a bit of a boost, a bit of a pickup, to make them go a little bit faster if they want to. But they don't mind. They don't mind. You don't need any food. You can just say, F off. We're going to just not have any farms at all. I mean, imagine that. Imagine a world where all the farmers were getting just like made redundant and they were closing the farms down. You could actually do that in this game, guys. Quite realistic. But yeah, in Settlers, to make food, I'll quickly tell you how it was done in Settlers. So a wheat field, get the wheat, give it to the windmill guy. He makes it into flour. You give the flour to the baker. You dig a well next to a river. Get the water from the well. Give that to the baker. He mixes the flour and the water. Makes bread. Sticks it in the oven. Bingo, loaf of bread. To get the meat, you use the wheat again from the wheat farmer, but this time he gives it to the pig farmer. You get water as well, and you get the water and the wheat, which he uses to feed the pigs. The pigs over time grow up and get fat. They then hand that over to the guy in the slaughterhouse. The guy in the slaughterhouse now whacks that, splat, splodge, slaughters the pig, and then you get your big lamb shank. How do you get lamb shank off a pig, Mac? You get a big porky shank off the pig, and that's how you get the bread, and that's how you get the pork. Simple as that. In the new Settlers, no water. There's no water required whatsoever, so you just use flour straight to the baker, and then that's that. But the worst one is the meat side of things. You don't even have a slaughterhouse guy now. You just literally have a ranch. And you don't have a donkey farm now. The ranch man does it all. He can either grow donkeys or pigs. What do you want? Donkeys or pigs? He just grows them both. And there's no slaughterhouse. He does all of it himself. It's all just dumbed down, guys. It's horrible. There's no fun anymore in the actual depth of the Settlers as a city builder. So what do you got left? Well, you've got a bad attempt at Age of Empires. It's a really bad attempt at Age of Empires with the actual combat. Now, your troops do line up way better than they ever did in a Settlers game. They automatically will march around in like unison with each other, which is great. The combat looks great and sounds good. They've pretty much nailed that. But you don't need to train them up. Remember how in Settlers 3 you would have 3 ranks of soldier? All that's gone. All that's gone. You would have to get a temple and feed them grapes if you were the Romans, and what the grapes would do, that would allow you to upgrade. There's none of that anymore. You do have sort of a perk tree that you can do, but it's not the same. It's nowhere near as good as seeing them getting their full, all the, you know, the little feathers on the hat kind of thing, like the Roman centurions. None of that anymore. That's all gone. You don't need gold. Remember, you would have gold, and you would use the gold. The more gold you had to stockpile gold to pay the soldiers to fight better when they were outside of your territory. Again, none of that. All that's gone. There's nothing, guys. It's now literally build an army attack. Build an army attack and get a few perks in there. Get a few perks, build an army and attack. Build an army and attack. Build an army and attack. Just build an army and attack. That's all you got to do. Just build an army and attack. What's the enemy going to be doing? Building an army and attacking? Okay. Are they any good? No, they're absolutely fucking dreadful. In the campaign. Yeah, oh yeah, terrible. Can you not turn the difficulty up? There's no difficulty. That's just, it is what it is. And the campaign is piss easy, guys. It's absolutely... honestly, I reckon, and I haven't tried this, but I reckon if you started a game and then went and watched the whole of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I don't think you'd get attacked. You don't get attacked. I mean, I haven't finished the campaign. I couldn't stand it. The voice acting's absolutely atrocious. It sounds like somebody reading a story to a little girl or a little boy before they go to bed at night. It's just terrible. And the characters are absolutely awful. It's just really, really terrible. So I just give up on the whole campaign. It was too easy, and I thought, let's do a skirmish. I loved skirmish. I mainly played skirmish and settlers. You know, I would set a really good map up. Usually a very large map, and I'd usually put myself against 4 AI and play that way. It was really, really good. So I went to select my map. Yeah, you can't select your map. Why? There's 10 maps, I believe. Yeah, you can't select it though. You just get thrown a map. Like, you know when you throw a bone for a dog? Well, it's like that. We just throw a map for you. There, catch, there's a map. Okay, well, alright, I'll just play on whatever map you want. So I want me against 4 AI. Oh, you can't do that. Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? Because we didn't program that in. If you want to play against the AI, you can. 1v1. I don't want to 1v1. Well, you can't play against the AI then. Unless you've got friends. Then you can do 2v2 or 4v4. But you can't have AI on your side. Alright, I'll do 1v1. I'll do 1v1. Okay, so I'll do 1v1, guys. But I want it on a hard difficulty. Oh, you can't set the difficulty. Well, how do I know if he's any good then? Oh, just play. You might be a bit surprised. I was very surprised how he just marched up the hill with 5 or 6 units and attacked my 30-strong force plus a tower and got wiped out in under 3 seconds. Yeah. I was also very surprised, guys, when I, after about an hour and a half of play, marched my 70 base units, just axemen, shieldmen and bow and arrow guys, straight through his base and absolutely destroyed it all. And the biggest army that he could muster to defend himself, 12 guys. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So skirmish. Bullshit. Skirmish. Forget it. So the campaign's awful. The characters are awful. The story's awful. The voice acting's awful. The AI's awful. The skirmish is awful. The options is awful. It's got a shop. It's got a, did I tell you it's got a shop? You can buy boosters and shit. And you can buy golden towers to put up and golden boundaries of your land. You can put all that up in the shop. You can buy them. Buy the shop. But you gotta have credits. You gotta have credits, guys. And until all the reviews is out, it looks like they've shut down the credit shop for the time being. But I have heard under good authority that you can't actually buy these with real money. You can buy credits with real money and then use the credits to... So to sum this up then, guys, it looks great. It has brilliant graphics. When it's not crashing, it runs quite okay for me as well. The sound effects are pretty good. The combat's good. The animations is good. Everything else is a pile of diarrhea. Everything. 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 Unless you want to do PvP, and I've heard that there's decent problems on that. I believe this game was made for a live service kind of PvP thing. And I think everything else was just... Because... I have to say this, guys, they haven't even tried. They haven't tried. There is no way. You know, when I was at school, the teacher would always used to write on the bottom of mine, must try harder. You haven't really tried here, have you, Mac? You prick. That was pretty prick at the bottom. And that's what I'm giving Ubisoft. You haven't tried, have you? You haven't even fucking tried. Because we all know what the Settlers is. It's got a pedigree from right back since the Amiga days. We all know what the Settlers is. This isn't the Settlers. It might be called the Settlers, but it ain't the Settlers. What you've done here is, you've made a game that's garbage, wrapped it up in a Settlers fucking skin and says, hey look, a new Settlers game, new Settlers game. Aren't we good? Look, new Settlers. Garbage. Absolute garbage. So there you go, guys. Settlers New Allies. 2 out of 10. And that's only because the graphics look nice. That was what them are for, the graphics. Everything else, trash.